Recording right now?
Are we ready?
No, you are recording.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
No, we are not.
This is porch talk after, all right?
Porch talk after.
All right.
DTO.
Well, welcome back to Liquid Gold. I'm sitting here with Michael Wolf. My good friends Nick and Demi from our past episode are here. We're going to bang out one subject and one subject only. My name is Kenneth Dedmon. This is a feature that we call shots.
Shots. Should we? Shots?
Could we?
All right, welcome back to Liquid Gold. And this is a feature we do on Liquid Gold. We do this every other week. We just hit a topic and get back our Tiki crew for Tiki month. So thank y'all for coming back.
Happy Tiki month, y'all.
Yeah, for my co-host Kenneth Dedmon over here. Kenneth, nice intro, as always.
I tried.
Dribbling it off the backboard and dunking it and
I'll do better
doing
next time.
things. No, it's great. I do want to mention we are brought to you by We Own This Town.
We own this town. Thank you so much.
Shout out
Michael.
producer Michael Eads and weownthistown.net. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and please share the episodes with your friends. Text them out. Do all those things. Find us at liquidgold_pod on Instagram. Send us a message. Collaborate.
Send
criticize,
us a postcard.
Mess with us. Fuck with us. Buy us shots.
Please
Shots.
buy me a shot.
Or let's just talk. And today, it's Tiki month. We're getting all geared up for Chopper, which is opening so soon. It's coming. It's upon us. It's here. It's nearly here. Things are happening.
It's
We're
like
in the
a comet.
kitchen. We're in the kitchen and we're making Falernum. And Falernum has been something that, for me, has always been a fascinating thing. I never ceased to be excited about it because when it's made correctly and when it's made with gusto, and you can throw other things in there. And you can make, like we did for a pop-up, we made guava Falernum. For another pop-up, we made sassafras Falernum. So you can sort of do these. You could make a rich, simple syrup, incorporate other flavors into that, and work that back into your Falernum. But we'll get into all things Falernum today on Liquid Gold. So excited to have Demi, formerly of Lost Lake, currently of LA Jackson, working on other projects, about to take on something huge, and she got a new job. And so congrats to you and welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming back.
Good to see you guys again.
Nick Drohan.
However you want to say it.
Hondro.
You can call me Hondro.
Hondro. That sounds easier. Our head bartender over at Chopper. Looking forward to all the
Big head bartender.
variations on
Thank you, Kenneth.
zombies, Mai Tais, Pisco drinks, whatever.
Orange juice.
Whatever you want to throw at him.
Orange juice.
He's ready, and we will have some juicy, lovely Falernum. Now, the word Falernum originates from the Roman wine Falernian, possibly. Now, there are all these different crazy origin stories. We can go around if you guys have things to add on this, because some people think the origins of Falernum go back 2,000 years. Some people think they only go back 70 years. There's a lot of research that says there's no mention of Falernum before 1930. But
it sounds like a gender-neutral Latin word, so we'll give it the Mediterranean.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's tough because like they get everything. Most likely, it's a Barbadian elixir that was made at home and could have been as simple as rum, lime, sugar, and maybe some spices, maybe some ginger, and then later almonds. But the Roman wine Falernian was mentioned by Pliny the Elder. He described the color as rich amber. The earliest reference to that Roman wine produced near Mount Falernus was by Polybius in about 140 BC.
Falernus being the masculine conjugation.
And it can be kind of a masculine thing. It can be lighter as well, but it's typically very boldly flavored of almonds, ginger, lime, cloves, sometimes some other spices like nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice. But the cloves, the lime, the ginger, the almond, those are all, and the sugar, and rum. So it's basically like this rum punch that can sort of be condensed into an elixir that can then be worked into cocktails. That's more of its modern application, I would say. But I think what I love about making your own Falernum, which does require some time because you have to zest a bunch of lime into like a high proof spirit. A lot of recipes where you're only going to get 2 quarts out of the 2 quarts of Falernum call for as much as like 20 limes that you're going to be zesting. But what I think I love about it is that you have sugar, you have a lot of spices, or say it's a fair amount of clove, and then I like to round it out with other spices. I love the zest, which brightens up all those like darker flavors. The ginger gives you that kind of zesty like bite to it. The almonds give you the fat. The rum gives you an extracting method that can pull out all those flavors. And then one of my favorite things about its sort of modern application is throwing in fresh lime juice to it, which gives all those flavors this juicy quality that is so good in a cocktail. It can save you from using too much lime juice. Like if you use too much lime juice in a Falernum cocktail, it can sort of be overwhelming. But if you hit those notes right in, say, a zombie or an old school Mai Tai, the QB cooler, the original Mai Tai, which had Falernum, it's just a beautiful thing. Do you like Falernum as much as I do, Demi?
Oh, hell yeah.
I bet you do.
I make Falernum frequently. The craziest Falernum I ever made was a garlic Falernum.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
you
into
told me
that
about
already.
this.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
That's fucking wild.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a pop-up at Lost Lake. I was one of the first employee to do my own menu at Lost Lake for a few days in our satellite bar that I mentioned
cool.
the last time we talked.
That's great.
It was cool. I did it was Cuban, it was classic cocktails. It was all riffs on I did like a riff on a daiquiri, a flip, a Saturn riff. And in my Saturn riff, I did mango with like a high proof gin. I did a Navy strength gin and garlic Falernum with like mango puree. And it was just like all kind of like classics, but also taken from like food that I grew up with. And like prominent flavors are like in Cuban food are like bay leaf. I did like an avocado daiquiri with bay leaf in it, and mango and garlic and like salt and pepper. And so like all of these things, looking at a flavor Bible,
That sounds delicious.
makes sense together. How do I put these into a drink and have them be like a savory cocktail? So I did a garlic Falernum using like various spices, ginger, clove, almond, and some garlic. Some roasted
Was
garlic.
it raw? Oh, you did roasted.
Yeah,
that sounds
you could do raw.
smarter.
I've done both.
Yeah. Raw is dangerous.
Tried
Alliums.
various recipes just because I wanted to make sure, I got it right. But like the roasted one definitely always worked out better.
Drohan, some favorite applications of Falernum? Falernum stories? Falernums that you've made?
Falernum admissions.
I definitely have a funny Falernum story of
Falernumology.
my last Falernum I made was at Husk, and I had made a Falernum pretty basic with a little bit more winter elements, with your nutmeg and heavy cinnamon and clove. But I had let it steep for a minute, and I came into the bar, and I had noticed it had been started to strain, or part of it had been starting to strain. So I then take the rest of it, and what I thought without looking or without actually looking at labels, I strained what I saw was my Falernum into a separate product, which was a different product.
Oh, wow.
So I strained my winter Falernum into apple bitters.
Oh, wow.
So I created an interesting product.
It was a delicious accident.
Yeah,
which
that sounds like that could be interesting. That sounds like it could work.
being apple, I guess, apple winter Falernum.
Sounds like a pie.
It tasted like a pie.
Yeah, it was great. It's great.
It was
amazing.
It was weird, but I looked at the counterpart, Adam Morgan, shout out, who created these bitters, and I was like, damn.
I hope you didn't love these.
I took
I'm
your
like,
stuff
I'm so
and I
sorry,
made it
but
so
your
good.
stuff is now my stuff. I'm sorry. But it ended up working out where we used it in many, many different drinks. But it was
That's a happy accident because you got apples and ginger. That works. Last episode we talked about glancing through the flavor Bible when you're looking to make a cocktail. You got apples and ginger. That's definitely an affinity. You got apples and cinnamon clove. That works.
cinnamon, clove,
You have
almonds, lime juice.
Yeah, I mean, like think
rum.
about an apple,
Yeah.
like a Granny Smith apple slice, and you put some almond butter on it. It's not very far off, and it really turned out great.
Yeah.
It was a great thing to do with both products.
It sounds like an Amaro.
Still
that both
It actually
may or may
is.
not have
It
been
actually
mediocre.
is
still there?
I actually do have a little bit left,
Oh,
just
cool.
a teeny little
There's
bit.
like-
I probably have
There's like 4 ounces,
4
5 ounces left.
Yeah,
Demi and I are coming in. We want
about that left. But what's funny is that you could probably actually use it as a bitter substance. Like if you wanted to just throw a couple dashes into a cocktail, it would work. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I'd
like,
use a spoon of it in like any old fashioned.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
If you want to just like even like put it in a dasher and just threw 3 dashes into like a weird fall driven cocktail, it would be very delicious.
Sounds great.
It was weird and I felt really bad at the time, but not really that bad.
Yeah.
No, I mean everyone has happy accidents. Like those are the ones to celebrate, and the ones where you like ruin the product completely. Say like it gets like a little over fermented, or like any of 1,000 things that could happen. Your apple falernum was 1 in 1,000, where it was.
I don't think I could remake it. I don't.
Two
Well, yeah, 'cause
very
you would-
separate things
Yeah.
that worked really well together. Just because you caught it before you kind of like caught it. I was watching you strain it in there. I was like, "What are you doing?"
I'm like,
I remember.
I'm
I was like,
straining
"Stop!
Falernum,
Stop what you're
dude."
doing!"
I'm like, chill out, bro. I'm straining Falernum.
And
Chill out.
not to make it about me, but like it created like a very, very beautiful product, and I'm thankful for that mistake.
To bring it back around, it is possible now, since the origins of falernum are murky. They're as murky as a dark falernum that you make with OFTD and overripened guava, like we did before. The origins are so murky that it's possible. It is possible that falernum was an accident. That someone had a ginger, maybe they were extracting ginger for health purposes. They had like a ginger bitters mixture sitting around.
I could only.
Accidents are the mother of science.
Yeah,
man.
I
Totally.
could only-
It's purpose.
I could
Before we
only
had math,
it's
we had
possible.
trial and error.
I can only imagine that it was an accident. Like, how do you come up with such a?
And one of the this is my favorite story of how it got the name, because sure, you can go back to the Romans 2,000 years ago, I suppose. The names, the dialect, the words, they all kind of match up, I suppose. But in terms of there being a rum base to all that, and that product from 2,000 years ago making sense as far as making parallels with that and anything we have now, not as likely. But I love this origin story that a woman was asked for the ingredients. This is in Barbados. And she said, she answered in the dialect, you have to learn them. Meaning you have to learn.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Meaning you have to learn how it's done. Ooh. And that's like what kind of spread. And this would be late 1890s where people were just saying like, well, how do you make this beautiful elixir? You have to learn them. And that sort of was translated
Right.
to
I like it.
falernum.
Like chess pie.
Yeah.
That will be continued.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Further research will be done.
Yeah, but
I
what
love-
if what
I
if she
love
was
that
like
story.
pointing at your heart? And she's like, "You have falernum."
You have to learn them.
No.
And he's like, I
It's in
already
your
have
heart.
it.
It's in
Yeah.
your heart.
And he misinterpreted that. Yeah, that could be possible. It's definitely one of the most mysterious in terms of origin, cocktail ingredients, exotic drink ingredients. Pretty fascinating. There was also a Washington Post article from 1937 that cited the use of falernum, and this is one of the first sources that people find. If you do have a good library, or if you have access through a university to documents, old newspapers, this was one of the first.
Shout out to
instances.
Nashville.gov.
Shout out library. Checks in the mail. This is a Washington Post article from 1937 that cited the use of falernum to improve the Cuban drink, El Presidente, which I think is pretty fascinating. I don't think I've ever had a Presidente that had falernum. The reason for this definite cocksureness was the exotic island quality of falernum.
Yeah, I mean,
That's pretty cool.
when we were working at Lost Lake, we did some really cool stuff. And one of the things I really enjoyed about working there was just the fact that we didn't just do tiki drinks. Like, we did a lot of like stirred boozy cocktails, because you have that guest that comes in who like doesn't want something tropical, doesn't want something that has citrus in it, like maybe has an aversion. Like some people who they don't like sweet. So we had on a secret menu, like I said, previously, just a ton of stuff that we could make in order to like make that guest happy.
Sure.
And a lot of the stuff was just like a stirred cocktail. One of my favorite things that Paul McGee told us about was he likes to put like a bar spoon of curacao in his Manhattan. So like, why not put like, when I did my Woodford competition, like
Yeah,
why
that's
not
brilliant.
put like a bar spoon of falernum with your curacao. You've got like ginger, lime, clove, all of these really wonderful flavors, almond with orange, and like you can pair that with bourbon, with rum, with gin. Like you can pair that with a lot of different flavors. I think those things work really well together.
Super cool. I think another thing that's very interesting about, say, which we talked about last time, orgeat, where you might have a base that sort of helps stabilize it or helps make it last. I like using pisco for that to give away a trade secret, especially if you can find a floral pisco that blends with the floral nature of orgeat. Then you might use that in a pisco cocktail, which can be beautiful because then you have those layers of flavor that you can build. You could either build that off of like quote unquote competing flavors or flavors that sort of like butt up against each other to create something else. Or as you do with Falernum, you typically make rum cocktails because there's a rum base to it. So you might have a rum as the base, say a Jamaican rum, which a lot of people use Wray and Nephew for their base in Falernum. So you might make a cocktail that has Venezuelan rum, that where you're going to get some of the Jamaican rum, you're going to get the Venezuelan rum. And there's all these different things you can do. But what I would say to the thirsty listener at home is if you don't want to make, you can look up Falernum number 8. You can look up Falernum number 9. Those are great recipes that most bars use. I'd be interested to hear what sort of your base recipe was at Lost Lake, or some of the you probably don't want to divulge that.
I can't give away trade secrets, but I can tell you like what my personal one is.
Yeah, but one thing I will say is, because we can nerd out about this forever, but if you just want Falernum to use in your cocktails, you can go out like we did for our swizzles and just get some Taylor's Velvet Falernum because it works in a pinch. It's not as boldly flavored.
It's easy.
It's easy.
If you don't have 4 days.
Yeah, if you don't have 4 days to kill, you can go buy some Taylor's Velvet Falernum. And then there's also, is it Maggie's Farm, the Pittsburgh?
I ain't going to work there.
Their Falernum.
Expensive. It's really expensive.
Yeah, their Falernum is delicious, hard to find, and a little expensive, but is pretty incredible. But so you guys, I would venture to guess you guys went through quite a bit of Falernum at Lost Lake.
We didn't actually make our own there.
Okay.
We made everything else. Falernum is just one of those things where it really does take too much time. And although we were like a small, and cost too, we were a smaller bar, we really were very high volume.
And try to make your own.
Always have a backup plan.
You might really have a breakthrough moment of amazingness to where if you make your own batch at home and you get a quart or two out of it, it's going to last you for a long time. As opposed to a high volume bar, but you could sort of use your own homemade Falernum and use the Taylor's and sort of see the difference. And a lot of the difference is in a vibrancy that you could get through something else. So you could make a lime zest syrup with spices and use that in conjunction with your Taylor's Falernum and probably get a really cool cocktail as well.
Yeah, experiment with it. I mean,
that's what we always suggest on Liquid Gold.
Like,
is
what we always say, yeah.
Play around with it,
make it at home, and keep that robe on. Keep that robe on all day and make it at home.
Yeah,
robe, always have the robe.
Take a personal day.
We all need it sometimes.
Brought to you by Liquid Gold.
PD.
You can. We'll write you
the
a doctor's
LGPD.
note. We'll write you a doctor's note. We're not gonna guarantee that it's gonna work, but.
Kenneth,
if you can,
Kenneth is a doctor. If you didn't know,
yeah, we'll give you our PO box number and our intern Philip. He'll sort of direct the doctors a note to wherever it needs to go.
My father's a doctor.
It's worth a shot.
Does it say took off 3 days to make Falernum and then drink it? Is that what
I would sign that?
Yeah,
I would definitely.
Yeah,
I'm gonna twist your arm to sign it.
Oh, I'll write an essay about it for you. We'll get you out.
I actually love to make Falernum.
It can be a spiritual experience.
Yeah. Like experimental elements of, oh shit, I fucked this syrup up, but did I? This is weird.
Yep.
And I think that like where Tiki meets craft cocktails and like I don't want to say like the word mixology, but like mixology, like
you said it, maybe.
Marks. I know I did. Where, like,
she has air quotes. She has air quotes. A lot of air quotes.
We're not going to talk about the word mixology.
Mixology. I hate that word. I really do. But it's more of just like
I like saying it with an Australian accent, though.
Mixology.
Mixologies.
it's not Australian, but it's like thinking about things of
What was it then?
That's an island.
You want your drinks to taste good. You like want your drinks to look really good, but like you also don't want your drinks to cost $35, and that's like the difference where like your home bartending meets your like craft cocktail. I'm at a bar. This is a business. Like we want to make you something really delicious, but we also don't want you to pay upwards of $40 for your drink.
Yeah.
And I think that like making stuff
Speak for yourself.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
You work at a different place. you can do that.
No.
JK,
JK.
JK
No,
Rowling.
I think that one of the overarching themes, I think for Tiki Month, the home bartender has the advantage. You,
Always.
our thirsty listener, you have the advantage because you are not needing to make 56 of this one particular beautiful cocktail that you might pull off the internet, you might hear on Liquid Gold, you might come up with it yourself, but you can juice it yourself, get all the oils into it. You can make a concoction at your house that might take days to make. You might make a Falernum that takes forever to make, and you're not worried as much about the labor of it, all of it. And so we want to turn over the power
That's right,
into
Mike.
your hands.
We want to empower.
Send the lightsaber to you. We are Jediing the lightsaber into your hands because you have the power.
We want to champion our parched patriots out there.
Our Parched Patriots, thirsty listeners, are
Cottonmouth
curmudgeon
companions.
So thank you so much for joining us on another installment of Shots. Shots?
Shots.
Shots?
Shots.
Shots? Shots?
Demi, Nick, thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much.
We love you
Presented
all.
by We Own This Town. Hit us up on @liquidgold_pod on Instagram. We will see you next time.
Later, Tater.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, y'all.